I think this question is fascinating, and I'm okay if and when we get stuck on an argument about Jerry Jones. I'm not going to. I think I'm going to see it differently, and I'm fine with your take for the most part, but hear mine out as well, because I think we're going to end up in an argument about Jerry Jones. None of it good. I don't think either one of us are going to make the argument that the guy's doing a bang-up job and he's really with it these days. I think we're going to argue he's incompetent for different reasons. That said, it's a fascinating question, but it's worded the wrong way. And here's how I'm going to set this up. I think we can debate this, I think it's just worded the wrong way. The Athletic is the sports section of the New York Times. And I find that The Athletic does what a good talk show should do. In my opinion, what a good talk show should pull off. And that is, it makes you think, it makes you scream, it makes you laugh. It's compelling. That's it. I don't know of any other rules, nor there should be any other rules. Telling you what's already happened today when you can see it on your phone, does not make for a good talk show. You thinking, debating, laughing, that makes for a good talk show. And The Athletic does it. So here we go. The Athletic has a compelling list of topics most days of the week. But this is really interesting. It's an interesting way of looking at team sports. And remember, I think the wording is wrong, but I think the topic is spot on. How much does every owner want to win? Now, I think it's going to sound silly, but they've done a masterful job of grading that. And it really does matter. In fact, I would submit to you that what the owner cares about most, and their competence in hiring people that are competent, matters most to a franchise. That will dictate the direction of a franchise. You can sell you want about play calling, you can sell you what about quarterbacks, but if you don't have the ability to build the right roster, you don't have any staying power, certainly in the NFL. Okay? So keep that in mind. First question, are there owners that don't care about winning? I don't know. I'm going to say I suppose there are owners that don't care much about winning. Again, maybe they give off that vibe, but I do find it hard to believe there are many owners in team sports, because I do think a lot of ego and money is wrapped up into particularly NFL franchises. I mean, the going rate is going to be a few $1 billion. But beyond just making the money, I got to believe almost all of them care about winning. Are they going to make money even when they don't win? Absolutely, yes. But I don't know that I agree that owners, and I know who you're thinking of, I do, but there's others. I don't know that I agree that owners, NFL owners, don't care about winning. I just think some of them are terrible at what they do. They don't get how to put the right people in place. It's just they're not very good at that business. No, they're not very good at that sport. I know a lot of you are going to scream right away. You're screaming now. Yeah, Jeff, the 107-year-old owner of the Dallas Cowboys doesn't care about winning. We're going to debate that because I don't think that's true. I don't. There's not very many times that I'm going to find myself arguing with many of you about Jerry Jones, but I don't think it's accurate to say he doesn't care about winning. I don't think that's right. I know I'm not coming from a position of real credibility on this because they're a dumpster fire. But I don't think they're a dumpster fire because he doesn't care. I think just the opposite. I think he cares too much. I think Jerry Jones desperately wants to win. I do. I think I'm going to make that argument. But ownership, and you're going to hear how they did this, which is really pretty interesting way to go about dissecting sports franchises. But I think ownership is the most important part of the franchise puzzle. I know that sounds nerdy, but the owner hires the architect. The architect, or two, I guess, in some franchises, but the architect is the designer of the model. That's usually the general manager. And that's the person that has to have the vision. That's the person that has to know how to move the pieces. That's the person that has to get it. That's the most important person in the franchise. And the architect, the GM, is the designer of the model. and then that person has the vision. They hire the coach who has a system, and then they find the players that make that system go. Perfect example. Take Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles. They dominate the Super Bowl. They dominated the season. They're ridiculously good. If you took Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Eagles, and stuck him as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, the Cowboys would have the same record. Okay? I'm not saying the coach doesn't matter at all, but the vision and the architecture is what matters most. The players and where they are and how much they cost and how that thing is built. The model is what matters the most. Tell me I'm wrong. You take Nick Sirianni, you stick him in Dallas, they end up with the same record. Last season, they end up with the same record. And, but you give him the Eagles roster and Jalen Hurts, and then they dominate the league. So I think it works this way in order, particularly if you look at NFL franchises. That's what the Athletic graded. In the NFL, I think the order goes like this of importance. I always believe in, models and bricks and blah, 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 and stuff like that. But a successful franchise goes owner, general manager, quarterback, head coach. That's how it goes. That's how it flows. That's what you have to have. So if the architect doesn't design the whole thing the correct way, doesn't balance the money the right way, isn't very good at running it, you're going to be all these bad teams. And you're going to see the bad teams keep being bad. They don't get better because they don't have anyone running the model correctly. So they start handing out these grades for all these NFL teams. I'm not going to go that far, but it is a really cool way. I think it's a cool way of looking at how you are successful and how you stay successful. Because some of them, it's just rinse and repeat. And then others, they just can't get off the mat. Dallas, that's you. So I have a grade for Dallas. But if you talk about Dallas and Houston, the Cowboys and the Texans, those are two franchises in opposite directions, seemingly now run in opposite ways. One of them is Sears. The other one is NVIDIA a good term? Would NVIDIA be a good comparison for the Texans? Maybe not quite NVIDIA. Let's see. Give me somebody a little bit more successful and nimble and can pivot. But the Cowboys are Sears. They're Sears. The Texans get some stuff wrong, but they usually get things wrong by trying. They usually get things wrong by risk-taking. But they're nimble and flexible. They add, they cut, they add, they make moves. There's stuff going on. Your Dallas Cowboys are Sears. Dallas doesn't move because they don't know how to pivot, right? They're just stuck in a mall doing retail and they don't know anything different. And so the longer they're Sears, the longer they don't pivot, the longer they don't adapt, the longer they don't get it, the more they're stuck, your Cowboys are stuck in a mall selling tough skin jeans if people happen to walk into the mall. That's Dallas. And so at some point, which has happened over time, at some point there's no mall traffic. And then you just stand there with a name tag on in Sears and you wait to die. I'll argue with a lot of you that Jerry Jones wants to win and cares about winning, and he does care about making money. And I think he has that money-making thing down. I mean, that came very natural to him years ago. It's knowing how to win in the NFL in 2025. That's the problem. He's Sears. He owned the mall at one time and it was really lucrative. And now he's working in retail and wondering, where did everybody go? He's watched the store traffic dry up. The only people who even come in there are old people walking in the middle of the day. And he can't figure out what to do because, I'm a mall retailer. That's what I know. That's what I do. It's what he'll always be. That's why I think your Cowboys are not that different than the Browns or someone. Their ownership is Sears. And the Texans are not that. They're not. I mean, they try. I mean, they had some bad ownership and stupid ownership, but They're not in a strip mall somewhere. They're not in retail. They're not Radio Shack. You want a better comparison of Dallas? It might be Radio Shack. Like they can't understand why no one buys speaker wire anymore. All right, so here we go. This is the way they did it. It's kind of nerdy, but it's a fun way to play this. Every owner professes the desire to build a winning franchise, but not everyone truly cares about winning as much as they would have you believe. And very few understand what it actually takes. If we were to construct a want-to-win meter, which category would team owners be in based on track record and the moves of this offseason? Contention mode, that's the highest. That means that franchise is always, it's NVIDIA. It's always reinventing, although NVIDIA doesn't reinvent itself. It's always finding new ways to adapt. That's contention mode. Willing to do what it takes to win is next. Competent to compete is next. And then then there's next at the bottom is trying to get it right. And then the very bottom is stuck in struggle mode. That's when you are Radio Shack. And most people don't even know what I'm talking about when I say Radio Shack. You've never been in a Radio Shack. Yeah, well, there's a reason for that, right? Okay, the obvious here, the teams that are always in contention. Buffalo, Baltimore, Detroit. I think that's a stretch. This is recent. Let's be honest. Detroit's been a mess up until the last few years. Kansas City and Philadelphia. I think the best run franchises over the last 10 years, I think they're very separate. And that is Kansas City and Baltimore are just a cut above in terms of their ability to run their model. They know how to keep plugging in people, getting rid of people. They know how to not be in mall retail. Philadelphia is now that because they have the brains behind their operation. They have a genius general manager, so they're here to stay. They won't, and when they do suck, it won't last very long. That's the way to look at good franchises, in my opinion. Willing to do what it takes to win is Green Bay. True. Very smart. The Chargers, the Rams. I put the Rams in a category. I really do. I put them in a category with Baltimore and Kansas City. I love what they do. What they do is they go all in, and then they blow it up, get rid of people every 3 years, just purge, and then go all in again. And they know how to build rosters. That's what the sport is all about. It's just the ability to move and build a roster. And then when it doesn't work that way, you just blow it up and do it again. You know, you're not in a mall. You're not Radio Shack wondering why nobody will park in front of your store to buy speaker wire anymore. They put the Dolphins in here. I don't buy that. I'm much more critical. I think the Dolphins try. I think Miami tries. I just don't think they get it. Minnesota's in there. That's fairly recent. The 49ers, true, but they're screwed. They're screwed. Tampa Bay and Washington. I think Washington is going to find themselves because their owner is bringing in people who get it. They are the anti-Jerry Jones. They are the anti-Sears. They know dynamic players. They find more. When you got a chance to win, you got to go all in. When you don't have a chance to win, you have to blow it up real quickly and start again. They get that. The content to compete. This means you're just meh. The Cardinals, the Bengals, the Saints, not true. I don't agree with that at all. Trying to get it right. They grade the Carolina Panthers. Their owner's a lunatic. That dude, I don't know if they're going to win because he's too much of a hothead. It doesn't go his way. He has too much power. He's like a crazier version of Jerry Jones. He's like Jerry Jones on crack. The Bears, the Broncos, and the Texans. I think the Texans deserve a better ranking than content to compete. I don't think that's true. I think they've been very smart, very aggressive, and they're trying to get it right. And if they don't get it right with their offensive line this year, then we're going to rip them to shreds. But they're trying. They're moving. They recognize they have a few great players. They recognize the windows. That's what good managers do. Right now, we got a great product launch. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And I think the Texans get it. I think the Raiders, who are in this category, the Raiders get it. Patriots and Seahawks. And then you get to the bottom. The worst franchises in the sport. The franchises that are Sears. The franchises that are Kodak. The franchises that are Radio Shack. And they're typically run by out-of-touch old dudes. Notice the trend here. Stuck in struggle mode. That's a nice way of saying, that's athletics' way of saying, if Jeff Ward made this list, he would say, you suck, you're Sears, and you're going to die soon. Or if we want to be polite, your doors are about to close. No one's coming in. No one's buying. No one, unless they're lost in the mall. No one ends up in your store. No one even picks up the tough skin jeans anymore to try them out. Dave over there where the shirts are with the name tag on, he hasn't seen anybody in 10 days in the mall. That's who these teams are. Stuck in struggle mode. The Atlanta Falcons. Oh my gosh, they're dumb. Wow. They are dumb on so many levels. So the Kirk Cousins thing is like a business case study. They thought they had this extra asset, then they overpaid for it, and now they can't sell it. So they bought a house in an expensive part of town, and they've overpriced it, and no one will take a look. And now they can't sell the thing. That's the Atlanta Falcons. All right, stuck in struggle mode. Atlanta, Cleveland. They're just dumb, always dumb, and their owner is a nut. And then your Dallas Cowboys. Here's where we're going to disagree on the Cowboys, okay? I think he wants to win. I think he wants to win badly. I don't think that's the issue. I think he's completely incompetent. I don't think he can do any of the things that I've just listed. He is Sears. I got to believe somebody somewhere before Sears shut all of their doors. I got to believe somebody somewhere thought, I love Sears. I've spent my life working at Sears. We can make it, okay? The mall's coming back, man. We just got to hang in there and keep selling the tough skins. We're going to be okay. Somebody liked Radio Shack and said, we're going to be all right. Speaker wire is going to start selling. People are going to start stopping at this store in a strip mall to buy batteries. That's Jerry Jones. He really thinks he thinks Sears is going to have a comeback. He keeps telling people, you watch, before long, they're all coming back to the mall. You'll see. That's what I think Jones is. I don't think I do think he cares way too much. The Athletic said this. Jerry Jones loves to claim he wants to win another Super Bowl in the worst way, but above all, Jones loved being the center of attention and maintaining control. That causes him to hold on to coaches too long because he doesn't want to pay them not to work or to pass on hiring the most talented coaches because they might want more power than he's willing to cede. Jones tends to drag out player negotiations because he's determined to pay them on his timeline, even if it means ultimately costing himself more in the long run. He's just bad at this stuff. You can't say he doesn't want to win. He'd give anything to hold that trophy up, and so you talk about him a lot. He wants to win. He just doesn't know what to do. Everything Baltimore gets right, he can't comprehend that. Baltimore, who are they? They're Apple. And they're like laughing at Sears. And Jones just can't, he doesn't understand why nobody comes to the mall anymore. Don't get it. I mean, we got a Cheesecake Factory over here. You think that would get some people in the door. The Colts are down there. The Jacksonville's down there. The Giants are down there. The Jets are down there. I don't agree with this. I mean, those are all terrible organizations that have no vision, no concept, no adaptability. They're badly run because they're always badly run. You get drafted there, you're going to get stuck there. You're going to be selling speaker wire. I have no idea what speaker wire is, by the way. I just keep using it. And then they list the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I don't think is entirely true. The Steelers are close. They just keep missing on quarterbacks. which can knock you down a few rungs, but I don't think they're an incompetent organization like Tennessee or Jacksonville or Dallas. And then Tennessee made the list as well. They're just dumb and incompetent also, and that's not new, by the way. People that used to follow a team called the Oilers know that ownership group is stupid. Yeah. They don't get it. So there, I think that's accurate. I think it's far less critical than I'm willing to be, but the separation between those that get it, those that build a model, those that aren't seers, and those that are seers is a giant gap. Just take a look at Dallas, Cleveland, and Tennessee, and you compare that to Baltimore, and you have your examples.